Here we are. We've undercoated him in Chaos Black Spray. I know some people prefer airbrushes or painting on undercoat, but spray works for me. We can see his head swap a little bit better there. And the work we've done to the shoulder pad there. Now, Brazen claws are a red and blue quartered colour scheme. So basically we're going to follow that through. And we're going to be following that across the whole army. Now I'm going to start with the red here. A lot of people struggle with red or don't enjoy it, but I find red very calming to paint. So I'm starting with corn red, and we're simply going to put that all over the core. With things like quartered paint jobs is sorry, so you can see the palette. The thing with quarter paint jobs is it's nice to keep things quite sort of tidy with your quartering, but the good thing as well by doing the red first is blue will go straight over the top. This is really difficult with the camera. Now I'm going to leave this little chest plate on plain so it can be yellow, which is the company colour. You can see here, so all I'm going to do is carefully do a straight line, and that will show us where our quartering will be. Now with all of the loincloth and the cloth bits on this guy, we're not going to have to do the line all the way down the centre, but we will have to do it all the way up the back. Again, we're not being too concerned because blue will go straight over the red. And what I'm trying to do as well is just leave sort of some black lining. I know there's a variety of products where you can go in and get your black lining done, but as long as you're careful with your paint work, just reduce the amount of tidy up you have to do. So for details like this is effectively wet brushing. So it's the same process as dry brushing, but with more paint. And that gives us our nice base colour and still retains all these black lines. It's another reason why I start very dark, because we'll go lighter, but where water-based acrylics always so have a slight translucency to them, so effectively we can drop the model. We can do the same colour on several layers, and that will give us our a natural highlighting. Now for Brazen Claws, we should do the chapter symbols well, but I'll wait till done all the blue. Okay, so that's just the red. We need to do a second coat of this colour before we start working the red up, but before we do that we're going to get some blue on the case. Now we've got the first coat of red on there, we're going to start with a base layer of blue because this will allow us to tidy up. Now this is Macragge blue as it comes from Games Workshop. What I've done is I've actually added a touch of black to mine, so I don't know if you can see, but that's slightly darker. Never be afraid to get an extra pot of paint and just mix up your own shade. Sometimes by mixing a pot will help you keep a consistent colour. See, this is a lot darker. And again, same with the red, is we're going to start dark and then work it up. Because of the way the acrylics work, it means we can just add layers, and then each layer we add will add a fresh shade. So the colours themselves will get more pigment the more layers we put on. So that's just a quick coat of blue, just so we can see where we're going. Now we're going back to the red, going for Memphiston. Obviously, where we put the shade on before was quite dark, so getting some on my palette. And one of the key things is there's two different ways of painting. You can spend some time blending colours together and working them up to the edges, or by going to a lighter colour and just going to the edge, so not quite covering the entirety of the previous colour. Where acrylics are quite translucent, that will naturally gives a colour blend when that dries, because that'll dry darker than what it looks now. So we're just leaving a touch of shade just in the recesses of the darker colour.
Now that red's obviously good enough for sort of a tabletop standard, but obviously we'll be going back up and giving it another layer when it's dry. But while that dries, we're going to go to actual Macragge blue. Ooh, let's give that a good shake. And obviously the benefit of doing intricate colour schemes like this, like quartered effects, means that while that red's dry, and I can go back and I can go over the blue, which is now dry. Another reason for watering your paints down is because it dries quite quickly. We're basically following the same technique we did. We're going to go back over and just leave the edges to give us a little bit of shade difference. Now, obviously, that's the sort of basic level that I'd go to if I was just doing a tabletop army. Obviously, we're going to go up again, another layer of red, I think, to really make it pop. Then we're going to do some edge highlighting. But before we do that, I think we're going to pick out his face, because that's a good focal point on the miniature. It's good to get your block colours in, so that when you come to do your final tidy up, final highlightings, you can tidy up as you go. Obviously, this is Deathcore Brown from Games Workshop. Technically, it's a layer paint, but it goes straight over black in just a couple of coats. I prefer Scrag Brown, but they don't do it anymore, so this is a good basic skin tone. Obviously, you can contrast down if you like, but I'll actually use the translucency to make this a base colour. Just being careful here to leave the black line so I don't have to go back in later on. I'll do. Except I can have time to dry. Now, I was going to leave his robes in that black, but I think we're going to pick them out in white. So we got a Corax white. Just needs a good shake. I don't like these new GW pots. They're awful. Yeah, I think that's good. Just help him stand out a bit. Debating putting a white rim around this one. I think we will. I'm going to leave the shield itself black, but obviously it's got all of the bits and pieces on it, so we're just going to pick them out in white. So that's good enough. We'll go back and give it an edge highlight in a bit. But now Brazen Claws hold their company colour on their chest eagle. So because this is second company, I'm going to be doing this yellow. Obviously, I did a video on how I painted flame effects, and obviously, while that goes into it a bit deeper, is everyone always complains about painting yellow, but yellow is remarkably simple. You just got to pick your colours. So this is Deathclaw Brown, the same colour I'm doing with the skin, but we know it goes straight over black, so I'm going to use that as a base and then just keep mixing in some yellow. So that's gone on pretty well. So we're going to put some on the palette. Find out Uriel Yellow, whatever it's called these days. I'm going to just take a touch at this, mix it with the brown. That gives us a lovely golden yellow. Just like with the other colours, we're not going to go right to the edge. Just leave the slightest touch for shading. See, while that dries. Okay. Just keep adding some more yellow. Cool. I'm going to let that dry, come back and do some edge highlighting. Okay, so next we're going to pick out some of the gold bits, let that dry, and we're going to put a touch of green on the plasma bits, I think, and then some silver. But first of all, we're going to take some black, just tidy up this guy's face. So, using a touch of black, I'm just going to go into the eye sockets. Because what we're going to do, we're going to just pick out the eyeball in a touch of white. So, just add in some definition there. And then while we're here, just going to tidy up some of the black bits. So things like belts, holsters. So I think what I'm going to do first, I'm going to do some gold bits, let them dry, and then they can dry while we pick out the silver bits. So we've got brass scorpion here, which is loose labelled as brass. It's a lovely gold, lovely basis for gold. So just pick out all these bits, leave just the edges in black. Okay, plasma weapons. Now, whether you do these in blue, green, red, yellow, whatever, the difference between these and normal highlighting is we're basically going to cover everything with our base colour. And then when we highlight up, instead of highlighting from the edges, we'll highlight from the inner part, and that gives our glow effect. So there's not a massive amount here, so I'll have to let that dry. Now that we've got most of the colours in place, we're going to take a touch of white, just pick out the eyeballs, the teeth, before we do some contrast. Now traditionally, purity seals are done in red, but because there's so much red on this miniature, I'm going to actually do them in white. And to finish up, got some contrast paint. The reason being, just to give these purity seals a good soak, and that will give us some nice texture to them.
Now theoretically we can do some freehand on this shield and some name bits, but this video is long enough and that's basically tabletop quality. So yeah, we might go back in another time, but I think for the time being he'll look good leading our force. So thank you for watching and have fun.